So, Twila, you talked about how you started getting interested in politics with Pearl Harbor.
Hmm.
Um, when you first registered to vote, what party did you register with?
I've always been a
You've
Republican.
been a
My
Republican
parents
since.
and my grandparents were. My
Nope.
grandparents always worked in the election. They always, worked wherever the election was being held. They always worked in that.
Hmm.
And I was just a natural Republican.
Why? Why did your parents and grandparents register as Republicans? Because I can tell you, my grandfather and even my father, they had registered as Democrats. There's always a reason, you know. So why did they register as Republicans?
I don't know. That's what they believed.
Okay.
Well, they were Christians, and Christians tend to be more towards Republicans.
This was true even in the 1940s.
Hmm.
Interesting. Okay. I thought both parties at the time, they weren't as, well, it's not as divided as it is now. Um, so, okay, you've always registered as a Republican. Uh, was the, now you were in Hawthorne, how long were you in Hawthorne until what year?
43, then he got a position at a church in North Sacramento.
I see.
And so we
Okay.
moved up there then. And we were kind of glad to get out of that area then.
You were glad to leave Hawthorne
Hmm.
because of
Of the war.
because of there's the three airplane factories, and that made you a
We were glad
target.
to get out of that area because it was scary living there.
Okay.
So we were kind of glad that he got that offer and we moved up there.
North Sacramento, was it also very rural, or was it okay? So, okay,
It was on the edge of Sacramento across the river. And it was probably maybe a little bit bigger than Hawthorne, but not real big.
hmm
It was. It relied on Sacramento for most everything.
I see. But it was a separate city.
Hmm.
And what was the name of the city again?
North Sacramento.
That is a city itself. Okay, I know about it. Okay, interesting.
And then I went to high school there. I finished junior high there and then went to high school.
Okay,
And they didn't have separate junior high. I finished the 8th grade there and went on to high school there, which was called Grant Union. And it was it was out of North Sacramento. It was in another little area there, 3 miles away from where I lived or something like that.
gotcha.
And we took the bus to school bus. Walked about half a mile to catch the bus.
Were you? But by then, did you live on a farm in North Sacramento, or just a home? Yeah, a house. Okay. You so
I
you
think it was the first house my parents ever even bought.
was
I
there?
mean, they had rented before, you know.
Okay.
Mhm.
And do you still have family there in North Sacramento? Okay.
Yeah. They moved quite a bit. They moved because they preached at different places, so they moved. They were the longest there of anywhere they ever stayed, I think. And I begged them when I was going to the high school, could you just stay in one place for 4 years so I can go to the same school? Because I was reasonably shy, and it took me a while to get acquainted. And then we'd move again, and then we'd move again. We kept moving, and so even if we were in the same area, we moved 2 or 3 times. And so I wanted to stay in the same school. So my dad took a job at the plumbing supply place and then just preached for small churches on Sunday that couldn't afford a regular pastor, you know.
Yeah.
And so he still did that, but anyway, we moved to Sacramento to LA when I was 9, going back here before the start of the war.
Right.
Because my dad wanted to go to Pepperdine, which was located at the 79th in Vermont at the time. And now it's in Malibu, but at the time it was in Los Angeles.
It's the same school. I want to tie it back to the political party question. What I'm interested in is you registered to vote then when you were in Sacramento. So were Republicans active in the area? Were
Well, let's see.
party politics, was it an active
I
thing?
think you had to be 21 then to register to
Oh, you had to be 21.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I was out of Sacramento by
so
then.
when did you first register? Let's get the, so if you were where were you when you were 21?
I think I was living in either Martinez or Concord. I think it was in Concord by then.
Okay, that Northern California, Concord. Help me out here. Where?
It's east of Oakland
Okay,
and near Walnut Creek.
so that we're talking like a Was it a very liberal area then?
No, not really.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
There wasn't as much distinction then like there is now, and the Democrats weren't nuts then.
Mm,
Totally different.
right.
But like Bud said, he was Democrat, when I met him. I said, why are you a Democrat when you have the values of a Republican and a patriot?
Mm,
And he said, well, because my dad always voted Democrat.
I see.
A lot of people did that. And
Okay.
I said, well, and I said, do you mind if I watch Fox News? And he said, no. And he liked Hannity, and he believed him, and he kept saying, well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And finally he says, I'm going to vote for Trump. That was the first time. I said, you are? He said, yep. So after he voted for Trump, I brought home the paper for him to re-register.
Wonderful.
And he registered as a Republican. And then from then on, he knew exactly what was going on. He understood the differences. And he said, I don't see how it could have been a Democrat.
Wow. So it's like the family bond. I
But
say
see,
that.
I
Yeah.
said, the Democrat Party has changed since your dad voted for them. They've changed a lot. They were the party of JFK,
Yeah.
but that's no longer. So I told him they were different, and he realized when he started paying attention of what they really were.
So, oh, okay. You married him in 2000. When did you marry Bud?
2015.
2015. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So all that time he had voted for Obama and he had voted for really.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He just didn't really know the difference.
Okay.
And most of his friends were Republicans, especially at church. And they said, what did you do? He wouldn't even talk politics with us. We tried to persuade him a long time ago. And what did you do? And I said, he just started watching Fox News.
You got married. That's what.
And he would ask me questions, and I would tell him if I didn't know something, I'd look it up. And I said, he just saw the difference then, They couldn't even believe it.
Wow.
Because they had worked on him for years, and he wouldn't even talk to him about it.
Mm-hmm. I guess it was that slow but steady persuasion made the
Yeah.
difference.
Well, he hadn't watched Fox News before. He'd been watching CNN or MSNBC or whatever was on at the time.
Oh my gosh.
That's why he was brainwashed.
Oh my gosh. I'm so curious. Okay, so you were in Concord until when?
1948, when I went down to Pepperdine to go to school there.
Okay, following your dad's footsteps, right?
And I got a scholarship. Well, my brother just graduated from there. And I got a scholarship because my dad was a pastor, and it was a Church of Christ college.
Yes.
And so, otherwise my folks couldn't have afforded to have sent me. And they did pay my room and board, but that was all, which wasn't too expensive then. And
people will be wondering to know, do you remember how much you paid? I know it sounds a little crass, but do you remember?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Because not like college is so exorbitantly expensive
no,
now.
it wasn't very much, or they couldn't have afforded it. I mean,
Gotcha.
my folks were still pretty poor even then.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to go, when I was about 14 or so, I wanted to go to Campfire Girls Camp. All the other girls were going, and I wanted to go really bad. And they said, if you sell 300 dozen donuts, you could go to camp free. So I did.
Now, this is back in Cottage Grove?
No, in North Sacramento.
North Sacramento. Well, good.
Yeah. I'm regressing here, but
No, that's fine.
anyway, that's how poor they were. They couldn't even send me to camp.
Wow. But you found a way.
Yeah.
That kind of perseverance is valuable. So and then when you came to Pepperdine, you
Maybe
stayed
it
in.
was 30 dozen donuts, not 300.
When you came back to Pepperdine, and then you stayed in LA from that point on. Is that right?
No, after
Oh, no, there was Arizona. What I'm trying to.
I went to Pepperdine in two years, and married my husband there, and he was just finishing that year. We had a baby, and then we moved up to Martinez,
Okay.
near Concord, and lived with his mother for 6 months. And then we finally found a little rental that he got a job that we could afford, and moved a couple of times there. Then we moved to Concord.
Okay. So you were in Northern California for a while.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I want to just staying with the political affiliation. Do you when you voted for, what was it like? I have a friend of mine who'll be very interested in hearing about this. What was it like in election? Here, let me